Time is 6:07. I call this regular board meeting of the Weslaco Independent School District to order. Today's date is October the 15th, 2018. Item number 2 is establishment of a quorum. Let the record reflect all members are present with the exception of Dr. Rivera and Dr. Rodriguez. Item number 3, opening prayer. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we have Mr. Robledo, who will introduce both staff and students who will be leading the next few parts of the agenda.
Okay. What I'd like to do is introduce our Airport Drive elementary teacher. She can step up here to say our prayer. This is Janine Silva, who will deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. Loving and gracious God, we humbly come before you to thank you for giving us another day of life and for all your many blessings. Thank you for allowing us to get together to recognize and honor the Weslaco ISD students and staff. Bless them and their families. Bless all those who will be presenting this evening. We also ask that you bless our superintendent, Dr. Canales, and our school board members abundantly. May they continue to seek your wisdom, guidance, courage, and strength as they make the best decisions for our students and for all those who have placed their trust and confidence in their leadership. All glory and praise be to you, loving God. We pray this in Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much for a beautiful prayer.
Hold on. Well, let's do the pledge. Oh, no, go, you know what, go right ahead. I see you got one up.
My pleasure.
Item number 4, the Pledge of Allegiance, Texas Pledge, Dr. Canales.
Mr. Robledo will introduce our two wonderful students who are here
Okay.
to lead us in the pledge.
If we could have two of our students please step up front, please, as we introduce them to everybody. All right, we have two students here from Airport Elementary. First, we have Marlene Montemayor, and she is the daughter of Hector and Maricela Montemayor. She's a Superior Honor Roll student at Airport Drive Elementary. She enjoys reading and drawing during her spare time. Her favorite subject is math. Last year, Marlene earned masters on her STAR reading, writing, and math test. Marlene participates in UIL, and she is in the Airport Skycat Choir. Marlene plans to attend UTRGV and become a teacher. How about a big hand for Marlene Montemayor? And if her parents are here, can they please stand and be recognized, parents? Also here today, we have Gabriel Doherty. He is a 5th grade student at Airport Elementary and is the son of Lane Doherty. Gabriel is a Superior Honor Roll student and participates in UIL maps, graphs, and charts. His favorite subject is math, and he loves to play soccer and kickball. Gabriel wants to attend the prestigious university of his choice later on after he graduates from high school. How do we can for Gabriel Doherty? And if his parents are here, can they please stand and be recognized? Can everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, kids? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas Pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Great job. Did you get a picture? Yes? Okay. Moving on to item number 5 is awards and recognitions. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, tonight we want to recognize several of our schools for their tremendous success with the State of Texas Assessment of Academic Readiness exams. Our academic performance continues to increase. And this year, Weslaco received a record 51 distinction designations for the 2017-2018 academic school year. Our schools were compared to schools across the state according to size and type. And based on these comparisons, they received a distinction designation in several categories. These schools, we're starting with the secondary schools, so I'm going to ask the principals to come up. We thank them, their staffs, for the tremendous work they did in 2017-2018, and we know that it continues with a lot of heart and spirit for doing what's right for all children. So Weslaco High School, Miss Yvette Morales. Weslaco High School is getting a plaque for post-secondary readiness distinction. Thank you.
You don't want to be
You
in the
may
picture?
stay, yes.
I think you should be.
Somebody should be up there with her.
Beatrice G. Garza Middle School.
Who?
Beatrice G. B. Garza Middle School. Reading distinctions in reading, English language arts, and post-secondary readiness. Dr. Armando Cuellar Middle School, Cuellar Middle School, Social Studies and Post-Secondary Readiness. Mr. Rodriguez.
Okay.
Mary Hogue Middle School, Science and Social Studies. Mr. Vallejo.
You didn't read the second page, no? Second part? Sorry.
Weslaco East High School, Reading, English Language Arts, Mathematics, Science, top 25%, comparative closing the gaps.
Want to bring them up?
Earning all 7 distinctions for a second year in a row is Central Middle School. Mrs. Pat Munoz. So Central Middle School received designations in reading, English language arts, and mathematics, and science, and social studies, and top 25% comparative academic growth, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and post-secondary readiness. Distinctions for elementary schools were also at an all-time high. Justice Raul A. Gonzalez Elementary, top 25%, comparative closing the gaps. A.N. Tony Rico Elementary, science and post-secondary readiness. Mr. Rodriguez, if you. We have the principal from Cuellar Middle School. Tony Rico, science and post-secondary readiness. F.D. Roosevelt Elementary, Reading English Language Arts, top 25% comparative academic growth. Mario Ivada Elementary, Math and Science. Sam Houston Elementary, Reading English Language Arts, Science, top 25%, closing the performance gaps, and post-secondary readiness. Airport Drive Elementary, Reading English Language Arts, Math, Science, top 25%, closing the performance gaps, top 25%, comparative academic growth. Kleckler-Held Elementary, Reading English Language Arts, Math, Science, top 25%, comparative academic growth, and post-secondary readiness. Dr. R.E. Margot Elementary, Reading English Language Arts, Science, top 25%, comparative academic growth, top 25%, closing the performance gaps, and post-secondary readiness. Our last elementary received all 6 eligible distinctions. Memorial Elementary, Reading English Language Arts, Math, Science, top 25%, comparative academic growth, top 25%, closing the performance gaps, and post-secondary readiness. Congratulations to our principals, the team, parents, students for incredible work last year, and we know we're on the road to even more success this year because of the great efforts of all.
All the elementaries. There you go. Selena picture. Okay. Good job. I know, right?
Congratulations to all the principals and all the teachers. That shows where the direction that Weslaco is now taking. We're taking off. We're getting better, and it's just going to get better from here on out. Everything shows that we're in the right track, and I want to thank our superintendent for her leadership. I want to thank the principals for all their hard work and all the teachers and all the staff for making this happen, and we're getting better. So let's keep it up. Thank you so much.
Okay, for our next recognition, we have a Weslaco High School student who was recently named as commended in the 2018 National Merit Scholarship Program. More than 1.6 million high school students entered the competition nationwide by taking the 2017 preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. Only 34,000 students received this commended distinction. We are proud and we're honored to congratulate Brianna L. Miranda for her outstanding performance in this national exam. Congratulations, Brianna. will they please stand up?
Oh, their parents are not here.
They're not here.
Okay. Miranda, we're excited. We congratulate you. This is something that all of us as educators dream of, having National Merit Scholars. You're one. So we're expecting great things from you in the future. We're here to support you always. Thank you.
Good job. Very, very proud of you. Very proud of you. This board is thankful for all your hard work and for showing what Weslaco has to offer, not only here but to the world. We see a lot of great things coming. Thank you so much. Let the record reflect, at 6:23, Dr. Rodriguez joined the meeting. Yeah, do you have more, Doctor?
That concludes the recognitions.
Okay, that concludes the awards and recognitions. We'll move on to item number 6, proclamation for Texas Education Human Resource Day, October the 10th, 2018. Dr. Canales.
Mr. Robledo will
Okay.
proudly announce his proclamation.
All right, well, if anybody's here from the Human Resources Department, can they please stand and be recognized? Whereas the Human Resource Division is instrumental in recruiting, selecting, resourcing, and retaining quality staff in support of providing an excellent education for all students, and whereas Human Resources play a key role in fostering satisfaction and loyalty among employees by allowing for professional growth, development, and keeping employees informed about policies, working conditions, compensation, and benefits. Therefore, be it resolved that Erasmo Lopez, Weslaco ISD School Board President, does hereby support and proclaim October 15th, 2018 as Texas Education Human Resources Day. How about a big hand?
Good job. Thank you all
Thank you.
for all your hard work. Are your parents here?
Are your children?
Yes. Are there children?
Are your
How
children?
about your kids? Moving on to item number 7, proclamation for Red Ribbon Week, October 22nd through the 26th, 2018. Dr. Canales.
Mr. Robledo will read the
I have
proclamation.
a proclamation for
Ribbon
Red
Week.
Ribbon Week. Whereas National Red Ribbon Campaign will be celebrated in Weslaco Independent School District during the week of October 22nd through October 26th. And whereas the Weslaco Independent School District and the City of Weslaco are coordinating this grassroots community awareness program in a united effort with representatives throughout the community, and whereas businesses, government, law enforcement, schools, religious institutions, service organizations, youth, medical, senior citizens, military, sports teams, and individuals will demonstrate their commitment to drug and alcohol-free, healthy lifestyles. Therefore, be it resolved that Erasmo Lopez, WISD School Board President, does hereby support and proclaim October 22nd through October 26th as Red Ribbon Week. How about a big hand? Next proclamation.
Moving on to item number 8, proclamation for Principals Month, October 2018. Dr. Canales.
October is also Principals Month, and we have a proclamation
We
for
have
our
a
principals.
proclamation for our principals. We know that they are here. If they can please stand and be recognized. Principals. As school leaders, principals are entrusted with our most valuable resource, our young people. These students are our promise of the future, and it is absolutely critical that they receive a rigorous and well-rounded education. Principals are more than just caretakers of their schools. Principals are expected to be educational leaders, disciplinarians, community builders, spokesmen, budget analysts, and guardians of policy, mandates, and initiatives. Principals set the academic tone for their schools and work collaboratively with teachers to maintain high curriculum standards, develop mission statements, and set performance objectives. Therefore, be it resolved that Erasmo Lopez, WISD School Board President, does hereby support and proclaim October 2018 as Principals Month. How do we can for all our principals?
Yay.
Thank you all so much. You know, I do not have the words to express how I feel about all the work that our principals put in. You know, I don't think that they get the thanks enough from us, from the public. You know, they put in long days, weekends, nights, evenings, get up early every day and hit it hard. You know what? I know from personal experience that it is hard being a principal, and yet I know our principals love their job. You know, so thank you all from the board, on behalf of the board, for all you do for our kids and for this district and for this community, as you all do affect the community in one way or another. You know, and our kids are the ones who have to gain by your hard work and your dedication to educating our children. Thank you so much. Moving on to item number 9, proclamation for Dyslexia Awareness Month, October 2018. Dr. Canales.
Mr. Robledo, will you please read this proclamation?
Proclamation. Whereas dyslexia is a language-based learning disability which often limits a student's ability to succeed in a traditional classroom setting, and whereas neurological in origin, dyslexia affects the way a brain processes information and is a leading cause of difficulties with reading, writing, and spelling, and whereas special education opportunities, including highly trained teachers, multi-sensory learning programs, and individualized instruction, are vital to dyslexic persons' future success. Therefore, Erasmo Lopez, President of Weslaco ISD School Board, does hereby proclaim October 2018 as Dyslexia Awareness Month. How about a big hand? And those from the Special Ed Department, if they can please stand and be recognized for the Dyslexia Month.
Thank you all for your hard work with this issue on dyslexia and the awareness that it deserves. Moving on to item number 10 is public comments. We have 2 people that signed up today. We're going to start with Mr. Israel Coronado. I'm going to read something to you before you start talking, sir. You're going to have 5 minutes. You are to address only matters that concern the school district. You are not to attack any district employee or board member. We will not tolerate any disruptive behavior by any member of the audience. If you do not abide, you will be directed to cease and leave the meeting. So you're going to have 5 minutes to address the board on your concerns.
Sure, I'll be quick. I am Israel Coronado, and I manage a page called Make Weslaco Drain Again. And you may be asking yourselves why I'm here. You just voiced your statement. So even though there are many issues that I should be talking about, I won't do that. After opening up the page, many approached me with many issues that were unrelated to drainage. I guess they saw that as a platform where they could voice their concerns. So I tried to ignore them as much as I could, but there came a point where I couldn't ignore them anymore. There were too many of them. Issues that were relevant to WISD. And the messages were beyond disconcerting. And I'm not here today to talk about the vast majority of employees that have low morale, that are disappointed with the way things are being managed. I'm not here today to talk about if Weslaco is the right choice when the Texas Education Code 25.211 states that there should be 22 kids per classroom, and there are many reports of that being surpassed. I'm not here today to talk about the human resource practices of hiring, where there are reports where teachers who are not certified are being hired in place of teachers that are certified. I'm not here today to talk about the allegations of the transportation department not being efficient in picking up students in a timely manner from schools, or the reports and questions that have been brought up to my attention that deal with the potential unqualified people that run the transportation department, where there's reports of people having DUIs or DWIs within the transportation department. I am not here today about the fights that have been reported in the high schools or the middle schools. And parents have complained that they cannot report this or pursue legal action whenever there's an incident within the school district. I'm not here today about the leaky roofs that happen every time it rains in many of the schools, nor about the furniture that is broken. I'm not here today to talk about that. And I'm not here today to talk about the drug allegations that have come out at all levels. And I have gotten messages, and I know that it is Red Ribbon Week, and I've made an invitation to everyone, those that are running for election as well as those that are sitting on a board, where the invitation is to live by example. And it's a simple challenge. It's as easy as a haircut. You know, we can help alleviate many of the concerns that the public has by something as simple as a quick drug test. What I am here to talk about is something that was brought to my attention, and right now is the perfect timing to talk about this, because when there's a problem, many times people don't talk about it when it's out of sight. And right now it's very cold outside. We just had a cold front coming in. But our summers are extremely hot. And I got reports that janitors have to work in conditions where the AC is turned off during the summer. And when I heard this, at first I had to go and ask, I had to go and investigate, and apparently the reports have merit. So I want to ask the commission right now that we're entering fall and winter season, you have plenty of time to address this so that there's no excuse come summer, that those janitors have the adequate conditions to work. And I challenge you guys to have the courage to step up and live by example, where come summertime, those janitors have AC and ventilated areas where they're working with. And I am willing to step in as well and go as far as saying, let's join them in what they're living through and walk a week in their shoes. Inviting you guys to join me. I'll go with you. You guys allow me into your schools to show the community that we are doing progress in this matter, because for me, this was very important. That's all I got to say. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
The next person we have for public comments is Sergio Garza. Mr. Garza, before you start,
sir.
I'm going to need to read something to you before you start. You are to address only matters that concern the school district. You are not to attack any district employee or board member. We will not tolerate any disruptive behavior by any member of the audience. If you do not abide, you will be directed to cease and leave the meeting. Now, before you start, I know you live here in Weslaco, so would you give us your address, and then you can start. You have 5 minutes.
1011 East 10th Street.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the principals at the schools that got distinctions. So congratulations to them. That means that they're doing a great job. The reason I'm here today is to discuss, issues that are at campuses that are not dealt with. As a result, we have been losing people that do really good work. At this campus that I'm talking about, there was 2 counselors and a counselor's assistant. Well, at some point, one of the counselors left, and then this particular person was left having to do the work of 2 counselors. A little bit further down the road, the counselor assistant was reassigned, and now the same counselor was left to do the work of 3 people. Don't understand why it took about 3 months or maybe a little bit more to fulfill a position that is so important. But eventually it did get fulfilled, and as I'm sure you all know what a counselor assistant does, it's hard work. They got a lot of paperwork, they got a lot of input into the computers. Every time a child moves from one school to another, there's a lot of work that goes into that. So this counselor, she's doing a great, this assistant, she's doing a great job. She's going all out. She's got a backload like that you wouldn't believe, because there hadn't been any help at that school. So eventually, she's catching up. But I don't see why they would give her more work. She has a lot of work on her plate already, and she keeps on getting more work and more work. Now, it doesn't take long for her to figure out that the work that's coming, getting put on her plate, there's a lot of other people that could be doing this type of work. So she figures out, all this work and these people that are giving it to me, they're not doing nothing. They're expecting me to do everything. And she's a counselor assistant. Well, it doesn't take long for her to figure it out that she's getting the bad end of the deal, and she's not there no longer, right? It was brought to the attention of the particular school principal. Nothing got addressed, nothing got done. We should be trying to keep these people, because for one, it took 3 months and a half or something like that to bring her in, so we should be trying to keep them. Eventually she figures out that it's not a good deal, she leaves. Now, another issue that was there also was that these people are doing a lot of work, and they're getting paid $11+ an hour. I mean, we've got people in the district that are making $120 an hour, and somebody's doing hard work, getting $11+ an hour. No one's told me to come and say, you know, why are people getting $11 an hour? But I think that's ridiculous. I think somebody that does a lot of work deserves a lot more money. Now, we do have, I think our priorities are a little bit mistaken. From what I understand, we paid $1.5 million for a Jumbotron, which over the years, I never heard that the Jumbotron didn't turn on. I never heard that the Jumbotron had a lot of issues. I never heard that the Jumbotron, I mean, a lot of different stories with the Jumbotron. Never heard anything with the Jumbotron. What I do know is that it was not the biggest one in the RGV. We didn't have the biggest one in the Rio Grande Valley. So we needed a bigger Jumbotron, $1.5 million. But we're paying assistants $11 an hour.
You're quitting.
And they're quitting. And we're trying to, you know, you know, sometimes I feel like, man, they're going to think that we're all,
1 minute.
1 minute, we're going to feel like we're against the system. No, we're not. We're just trying to make it better. And it's up to you all that are elected officials up there to make it better. How can you make a living on $11-some an hour doing all the work that they're doing? It is ridiculous. But $1.5 million for the Jumbotron, and the assistants making $11. We got to get our priorities straight. Got to get our priorities straight. There's, you know, I mean, I just think it's ridiculous. I've seen all your advertisement. I know we spend money on Weslaco's the right choice and all that. Let's make it the right choice. You all up there have the opportunity to make it the right choice. Lead by example, like the other gentleman was here. Lead by example. Put an example out there. Make it the right choice so people can want to come to the district. If you take care of them, then they will want to come over here. We keep on losing kids to IDEA every year. Plenty of kids just leaving the district. It's a mass exit. Let's take care of business. Y'all can do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's it for the people that signed up to speak. Moving on to item number 11. Superintendent's report, Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we have 4 items to report this month. The first one is dyslexia awareness. We have Mrs. Edna here and Mr. Neil Garza. That is, you'll be presenting, right? And it is Dyslexia Awareness Month.
It is. The whole month of October is Dyslexia Awareness. So I see some of you are wearing blue. That's great. That's a color for dyslexia. I put some brochures there for you all as well. And some goodies. Do we have the PowerPoint?
That should be it. Click.
There we go.
All right.
All right, so dyslexia, and again, the brochure gives more information on what it is. It's a language-based learning disability, and it is a mandate. We do have currently 355 students identified with dyslexia, only under the general ed, typically 504 program. There are more students under the special ed program. Oops, the other way. Currently in Weslaco ISD, we provide Orton-Gillingham-based intervention programs, and those programs are guided by what is known as the Dyslexia Handbook, produced by the Texas Education Agency, and these are the requirements for such an intervention program. The intervention program is meant to rewire the brain. The brain is wired a little differently for students with dyslexia. That does not mean they are cognitively low. They're most of the time, their IQ falls within the average or above average range. And so it's just, again, the wiring we're trying to work out for these students who have difficulty with the reading and the writing process. We are providing accommodations for students with dyslexia at WISD. We are providing community awareness and many trainings. And thanks to the support of our superintendent, assistant superintendents, and everybody, school board, we also have a consultation being provided by a CALT, what's called a Certified Academic Language Therapist. Not a cult, not to be mistaken with that, but a CALT. And that would be Ms. Irma Gonzalez. And again, we're going above and beyond by providing parent meetings. We progress monitor our students. We have a program called ECCBM, and we monitor the curriculum skills related to reading with this program in the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and at the end of the year. For dyslexia community awareness activities, we are distributing brochures as such. Just as we speak, we have Chick-fil-A Spirit Night going on. With those funds, we will in return use them as scholarships for students who are graduating and have been identified with dyslexia. We're going to continue doing more of these fundraisers to help in that regard. Oh, and also, if you have a chance, come out to Al Fresco Thursday. Even if it's chilly or what have you, wear jackets, bring umbrellas. We do have dyslexia awareness through the community by the water tower turning blue. So the city has approved it, and so we're going to really be out there promoting what is dyslexia.
So when people ask why blue, we
why
use
blue?
some talking points.
That's the color identified. Usually it's a blue ribbon, but blue is the color. What's up and coming? We are going to continue providing the intervention programs to our students through the Susan Barton program, through the Herman Method program, through the Language Live program. We're going to be providing additional staff development. We are going to make sure that teachers are aware of the fact that there is a module offered through TEA that basically speaks of what is dyslexia and the basics, kind of like your Dyslexia 101. Because of a lot of our students have the issues with handwriting, dyslexia is oftentimes coupled with bad orthography. We do have a program called Handwriting Without Tears. We want to continue implementing that, and then again, of course, progress monitoring. Oops, that's not me. Questions?
Just a comment. Thank you
Yes.
for increasing awareness across our district, in coordination with everybody on the team. And I love the partnership with the city, where
Yes.
our city will recognize it as Dyslexia Awareness
Yeah.
Month by making sure we have the blue light on the
Yes.
water tower.
And I want to also extend a thanks, thanks to y'all's support. I have a wonderful partner here with Mr. Garza and everybody really. So thank you guys for always supporting us, when we had the 5Ks, when we had the craft and rummage sale, whatever it takes to raise the awareness and raise monies for the dyslexia scholarships. But most importantly, the fact that we are providing the intervention programs and accommodations to help these struggling readers and writers.
If I remember correctly, last year, the year before last, that was one of the concerns from parents and,
Yes.
other people, and I'm glad you're addressing
Yes.
that area.
Yes. Did we
Thank you.
change curriculum from
We-
the previous years to
Yes,
this time?
with the support of Mr. Abel Aguilar, we included Herman Method, Kit A and Kit B, because there's two kits. Again, not to say one program's better than the other, but just to have more tools in our toolbox to offer to our kids based on their individual needs and specified needs.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we did. Thank you again for that support.
Thank you so much. Keep up the
Thank
good
you
work.
for everything y'all
Thank
do.
you.
Good job,
Thank you,
guys.
guys. I'm off to Chick-fil-A.
To advance the slides, I'll do the next part. Advance the slides. The next part's on enrollment and membership. It's a comparison. We're looking at the 7th week enrollment, comparing last year, 2017-2018, to this academic school year, 2018-2019. Basically, there's a difference of a positive 277 in enrollment, which is great news. We also look at membership, and we do it for planning purposes. And so in membership, we're up by 69. And those that do, the membership includes students in our wonderful district that earn state and federal funding. So we're up 69. When we look at levels, again, elementary schools are up in enrollment by 38. Middle schools are up by 54. High schools are down by 25, alternative is down by 4, and the Alpha Academy is up by 215. And then there is a comparison to the membership as well. And we just need to keep track as staff of membership too, because like I said, that generates funding. It helps us with planning for the future for all students. If you look at the average daily attendance, that's on the next slide. In 2017, for the 7th week, it was 15,899. 7th week of this school year is 15,926, which for a funding difference is 27, and our ADA is 97.04%. As a reminder, we want our high schools at 95%, our middle schools at 96%, and our elementaries at 97%. So we're at 97.04%, which is our elementary expectation. This is ADA, which is another comparison, and Mr. Sanchez may need to explain this or answer any questions you may have about this one, because it's a little bit different. But again, this one's showing the first 6 weeks. It's 6 weeks, not 7 weeks, at 15,815 last year. The 6 weeks of school this year, 15,859 for an increase of 44. Our fiscal year, we are budgeted on 15,905, so everything that we've planned for is based on having 15,905 students in attendance, average daily attendance. The Board of Trustees, there is a stipend for all employees across the district if we hit 16,050. So we're a little bit away from that right now, but we're striving to hit that. And then the employees for this stipend is the extra 250, right, district-wide at the end of the year.
How much time do you have to, or when does the final count come?
Mr. Sanchez, will you please?
By the end of the school year, there's a couple of variations. This time we might have to use all six weeks to calculate the ADA.
Okay.
To come up with it. But we have to wait till the end of the year
Well,
to know.
the sooner we get there and hold, right, the better.
It's usually by the 5th 6 weeks, we
By the
know.
fifth,
By
six
the end of
weeks,
the 5th 6
okay.
weeks.
What kind of input are you getting from your principals in regards to reaching the goal?
Well, right now, still early. Some of them say, well, the enrollment, we don't have the same as last year. We have some changes on some schools, the students. So we're working with them right now. But the second 6 weeks will give us a better idea of how we're going to do.
Okay.
But right now, we're short 46 ADA from the budget goal.
46, you said?
Yeah, 46, and we're 44 over last year. So usually the first 6 weeks are lower than the 2nd through 5th.
Okay.
So we hope to do good.
Okay. Thank you.
And for the last section of the report, well, not the last section, we have insurance. Mr. De La Rosa for the 3rd section of the report.
Good evening, Dr. Canales, Mr. President, members of the board. We have started our new fiscal year for both our self-funded health insurance program and our self-funded workers' compensation program. So the information that I'm sharing to you and that is just very brief. Comparison of medical claims this year versus last year. In the month of September, we paid approximately $925,000 in medical claims versus last year, $851,000. That's an increase of about $74,000. For prescription drugs, in the month of September, $316,000 versus last year, $239,000. That's an increase of approximately $77,000. Our fixed costs, which is our what we pay the Blue Cross Blue Shield to administer our plan, and our stop loss premium insurance. This year or this month, we spent $243,000, $244 if you want to approximate. It's a small decrease from last year, about $245. So overall, for the month of September, we paid $1,485,104.57. That's a increase of approximately $151,000 over last year at this time. And our self-funded workers' compensation program, again, we're into the first month of our new fiscal year. So basically, number of claims last year, 10. In the month of September, we had 12. We've incurred approximately $61,000 this year versus last year, $16,000. So we still have, we've actually paid $692, so right now we have an outstanding reserves of approximately $61,000. And the next couple of slides are our newsletter. This month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so it's just information to go out to employees tomorrow.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank
Mike,
you,
what
Mr.
was the
Rosa.
difference so high compared to last year? Just,
On the comp side?
yeah,
On the workers' comp side?
yes.
We had
There just more claims? or-
well, it's the severity of the claims,
Yep.
so.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Aloisa. The last section of the superintendent's report, we have construction project presentations, and Mr. Garcia, Mr. Garza, will you please introduce our presenters?
Last month, we highlighted other projects, right?
We highlighted three.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Yes.
Three firms, three architects last month.
Good evening, Dr. Canales, members of the board, Mr. President. We've got three presentations that are going to be done tonight. We've got Mr. Eli Alvarado with Alvarado Architects, who's going to be presenting on the pavilions for Cuellar Middle School, Mary Hope Middle School, and the restrooms for Central Middle School. And then we've got Mr. Humberto Rodriguez with Wright Ogden Figueroa Alex Architects, who's going to be presenting on the CATE projects, which is the Advanced Manufacturing Technology Shop at the CATE building, the welding and woodworking shops at the Ag Farm, as well as the chemical storage building for the Aquatics Center, and also Mr. Mariano Garcia with M. Garcia Engineering, who's going to be presenting on the parking lots project for Silva and Gonzalez as well. And we're going to be starting with Mr. Eli Alvarado.
And Gomez too, right?
I'm sorry.
Rudy Gomez is here too?
They're here. Everybody else is here represented, but they presented last time, so they'll not be presenting.
Okay. Morals for the rest. All right.
Mr. Alvarado.
Good evening, Board President Lopez, members of the board, and Dr. Canales. My name is Eli Alvarado, and I'll be presenting on the pavilions for Mary Hogue Middle School, Dr. Armando Cuellar Middle School, and for Central Middle School restrooms and canopy. At Mary Hogue Middle School, I'm just going to go through a couple of photos, job photos. We started in June 1st of this year, and we've been moving toward the construction of the pavilions. These are just a couple of images as the project was ongoing. The steel is up, the metal wall panels are up, the trim is going around the perimeter of the building. We have the roof that's on board, the gutters are going on board, the equipment's already on board, and we have the downspouts, which are going to start this week out there at the pavilions. The notice to proceed, as I mentioned before, was issued June 1st. The original contract amount is $1.130000, so $1.1 million. We have an owner's contingency of $50,000. Landscape allowance of $20,000, testing and balancing of $5,000. There has not been any change orders. We're currently 85% complete with Mary Hogue Middle School. We have 10 rain days that have been submitted to date, and substantial completion per the contract is December 1st. However, we understand that there is a fall festival on October 25th, and we will be meeting that deadline to make sure that the pavilions are available for that fall festival.
Let me ask you a question on that. Those pavilions, you have a roof structure, and then you have a skirt?
Yes, sir.
Around the, is there a way for that to breathe? Are there some roof vents?
Yes, there's a ridge cap up on top, so yes, it does breathe.
It'll breathe?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For Dr. Armando Cuellar, the same, the construction job photos just are ongoing. The slabs were poured, steel structure went up, the metal panels on the roof and on the sides have been completed. The interior is ready, sidewalks have been poured, the gym equipment has been on site, and pretty much the same schedule. All the balances remain the same. 10 days have been submitted. By contract, December 1st is a substantial completion date, but we understand that their fall festival is October 31st, and we will be making that date as well, so that it can be used at that time.
Perfect.
And finally, Central Middle School, this is the restroom building and the canopy. These are just a couple of early photos, demolition complete. The plumbing, it was all in place. The foundation was poured. We've got CMU up on the perimeters. We've got a burnished block on the interior. And one of the issues that we had on here was the brick. We did not match it with the existing color, so we were going to match it with the new building that was placed there by another architect several years ago. Well, that brick was also discontinued, so we're now using a blend, which took a little bit longer, but it should be arriving here next week so we can get started. But the entire building's already waterproof, damp-proofed. The burnished block is up, the hollow metal frames are in, and the steel bar joist will be arriving this week, weather permitting, and we'll be continuing on that as well. So that's kind of where we're at right now for this project. The concrete beam was poured last week, and so that is where we are at for Central Middle School. We do have one proposal request, which was an unforeseen, the existing building. We thought that that wall continued all the way up behind the metal panel that's there. It doesn't. It opens up to the plenum space of the existing building, so we asked the contractor to continue it to the top, waterproof it, cover it back up so we can go ahead and get it covered at the amount of $2,000. We still have $47,000 left in the owner's contingency. We do have our landscape allowance. All the other allowances are in there. We are about 55% complete with the project. 10 days submitted for rain days, and December 1st is the substantial completion date on that one. And we're looking still, even though the 10 days were submitted, we're still looking to finish it by December 1st.
The estimated completion date, do they take into account the rain we're supposed to get this week?
No, we have not. Though the rain days submitted were from the month of September, so basically it was July, I believe, and September that we received some rain.
Okay.
So December 1st, if you had the 10 days, obviously December the 11th would be the date, but we're still holding the contractor to December 1st, so we can go ahead and get that turned over as quick as possible.
Okay.
And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our next presenter is Mr. Humberto Rodriguez with Cagdon Figueroa Alex Architects.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a meeting with you in Sergio. Again.
Okay, so we got 3 projects with you. We have the AMT building and the welding shop with NM Contracting, which they're here tonight, in case you have any questions. The substantial completion was actually the notice to proceed was June the 7th, and their substantial completion would be October the 18th. They're approximately 75% complete. There's a lot of activity going on right now. They got pretty much everything done. They're about practically about 70% complete on mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. And the final finishes are forthcoming. That's pretty much for both projects. There's over at the Ag Barn, there's some electrical easements that we are working on right now. The district's working on a blanket easement with Magic Valley Electric Co-op, and there's another agenda item tonight. Should it be approved, they can move forward bringing in the service entrance. I will let you know that right now, overall, the project's approximately 2 weeks behind, and that is due to background checks on subcontractors. So they're working through that right now with the district. Just to show you a couple of pictures, this is the AMT building as it started. They've done a lot of work already. They've been closed. Keep in mind that there's no new buildings here. It's just enclosure and remodeling of interiors. They've already got their doors and hardware on there. Also, they're dropping in the ceiling grids and electrical and plumbing work going on. They're enclosed it. They're pretty close to enclosing the building out. This next couple of pictures is at the Ag Barn. Trenching, metal studs going up, CMU work going on, some side work that was done also, sidewalks, classrooms. They've got already their grid and mechanical equipment going on in there. Some other shot from the exterior. The welding shop, the school district's already putting in all their equipment in there, or their stations, if you will. This is some of the other shots around the welding shop area. That's pretty much it for the AMT and the welding shop, if you have any questions. The next one would be that of the chemical storage over at the Aquatic Center. Notice of proceed was June the 7th. They're substantially December the 7th. Mata Construction is the contractor. He's here tonight, should you have any questions for them. They got 9 days that they recorded, and they worked through them. They got their foundation work done. They're currently working on providing the foam work for the concrete columns. CMU blocks is on site. They're currently working on getting a mock-up on the brick, and we're working on some color selection. So some of the pictures here, they did the earthwork there, got the foundation set and ready. They poured, foundation's already poured, concrete foam works up, and they're ready to pour sometime this week, if God permitting, weather permitting.
Good.
That's pretty much it. If y'all have any questions?
No, looks good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our next presenter is Mr. Mariano Garcia with M. Garcia Engineering.
Good evening, board members.
Good
evening.
Good evening. My presentation is for the Silva Elementary and Gonzalez Elementary parking lot additions. With respect to the scope of the project, it was parking lot improvements for both sites. One parking lot was for staff, teacher parking, and the other one was for cafeteria staff parking lot on both sites. The contract amount was $281,336. The contract was executed April 24th, 2018. The notice to proceed was issued on June 11th, 2018, with a substantial completion date of September 9th, 2018. So far, they've requested 7 rain days. The project is substantially complete with the exception of Gonzales Elementary. Gonzales Elementary's larger parking lot, teacher staff parking lot, still lacks the completion of the parking lot striping. Other than that, everything else is, and with the detention pond, there's a culvert with a couple of safety and treatments that require completion as well. With respect to the parking lot striping, we had they had striped it already, but they were striped. The stalls were striped too narrow, so we came back and looked at the striping. We reconfigured the stalls to look at instead of 60-degree parking with 16-foot drives to 90-degree parking with 22-foot drives. We laid out an exhibit, and it's part of the presentation that we submitted, showing those that configuration. Let me see if I can get you up. Okay, thank you. There we show the 90-degree parking with 22-foot drives, and we maintain 35 parking spaces, and the same direction of travel for the parking lot. So this is the only thing that that is lacking for this parking lot. If it's acceptable, we can release the contractor so that they can continue the work and finish. They should be able to finish, weather permitting. They would have been able to finish this week, but once we get a break in the weather, we should be able to complete in a couple of days. This is small work.
Given the limited amount of space, we have very little space to the north, little space to the south. I think this is the best configuration that you can come up with, and I'm going to allow Dr. Canales to make the final decision, of course, and go forward with this. But Doctor, this is good from what I see.
It's how many spaces?
35 in total.
Has the principal seen this, or no?
Not yet. No, not yet. No, we haven't presented this to the principal yet.
Well, I think let's get together after this meeting, and that way we can move forward and finish this project up.
And if I may say, I believe the original design was 38, correct?
Yes.
38, so we're staying with 35, which is pretty
There's
close.
no extra cost to the district, no change orders, nothing?
No.
Okay.
So we can go ahead and call a meeting this week and go over everything.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Amerigo.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you all.
Thank you for this.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Is that it for the presentation?
That concludes the presentations. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all the architects and all the people that stood up here and talked about our construction projects going on in Weslaco. Moving on. Moving on to item number 12, consent agenda. I'll start on my left. Dr. Rodriguez, do you have anything to pull?
I have none.
Mr. Nieto?
None. No, sir.
Mr. Caballero?
No, sir.
Mr. Gonzalez?
No, sir.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
There's a motion to approve the consent agenda by Isidoro and a second by Dr. Rodriguez. Will all those in favor signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Discussion items. Moving on to discussion items, which is item number 13. Item A is interim financial reports for the 1 month ended September 30th, 2018. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we recommend that you acknowledge the interim financial report for the 1 month ended September 30th, 2018, as prepared by our business office. No action is required, and Mr. Andres Sanchez will highlight main things from this report.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Canales. Mr. Lopez, members of the board. For the 1 month ended September 30, 2018, in the general fund, out of $169.9 million of revenues, we have received $18,463,000. That represents 10.86%. Of that, $182,000 is for local revenues, $17,946,000 is state revenues, and $334,600 is from federal revenues. On the expenditures, of a total of $169,089,000, we have expended or encumbered $11,820,000, which represents almost 7%. And this is the first month, so everything is okay. Let us know functions to worry about because we're barely getting started.
There's nothing to worry about at this point because it's too early, but everything looks okay?
Yes, so far, yes.
Okay. Is that it for your report?
That's it, yes.
Any questions, any comments? Thank you, Andres.
Yes.
Moving on to item number B, acknowledgement of Hidalgo County Tax Office Collection Report for August 2018, current and delinquent taxes. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we recommend that you acknowledge the Hidalgo County Tax Office Collection Report for August 2018 for the current and delinquent taxes as prepared by the Hidalgo County Tax Assessor and Collector. Again, no action is required, and Mr. Sanchez will highlight what's on the table before you.
Yes. For the month of August 2018 and the current levy, there was a total collected to date of $24,943,000 in taxes, and that represents 95.4% of the collections of the levy. The prior year, we collected 94.78%, so we collected 0.62% more. In the delinquent taxes, we collected to date $1,168,418. There were some adjustments on it, but they're all included in here. And that represents a total of 28.92%. The prior year, the percentage was 27.61. We had budgeted 91% on these taxes, so we exceeded by 4.4% on the current taxes. And on the delinquent taxes, we budgeted only 20% of collections, so we exceeded almost by 9%. So this was a good year in collections.
Good.
Good year in collections.
And it will continue this year, right?
I hope so.
Yes.
When it's that positive, of course, every month we look at it and make sure that every month they're collecting a little bit more.
Yes. Yes,
So, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm next for the
You're next again?
Yes, he is.
Item number C, acknowledgement of Hidalgo County Tax Office Collection Report for September 2018, current and delinquent taxes.
Okay, again, this is for September 2018, and no action is required. Mr. Sanchez.
Yes, for September 2018, they would only, the report only showed delinquent taxes because whatever was current last year became delinquent by now or not collected yet. So the amount collected for the month was $75,483. And the percentage of collection was 1.88%. The prior year was 2.34%, so that is 0.46 lower than the prior year. And then, again, this is just the beginning, so it's low amounts. But that's a little bit less than last year.
That's normal to have lower at the beginning?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
And in October, the new taxes kick in. So some start collecting. November picks up more than December because people pay through the mortgages or want to deduct it on the tax return. And then in January, it's more collections because people want to avoid the penalties. Because as of February 1st, they go into penalties.
Okay.
So those are the months, November, December, January, they collect more. And even February. But September is very low.
Thank you. Good to know.
Questions, comments? Moving on to item number D. Item D. Presentation of annual tax collection report for fiscal year 2017, 2018, September 1, 2017 through August 31st, 2018 by Hidalgo County Tax Office. Dr. Canales.
We are seeking your acknowledgement of the annual tax collection report for fiscal year 2017, 2018. The report will be presented by Mr. Paul Bedial, Hidalgo County Tax Assessor Collector, and no action is required. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Welcome,
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Canales. It's an honor to be here. I was excited to come over and give you the annual report, but Mr. Sanchez did a good job there, too. Well, I'd like to start maybe on tab number 1, if you have that report in front of you. Give you a breakdown of the current collections, delinquent collections, and rollback taxes. So The total collected for 2017, 2018 for Weslaco ISD was $27,343,839.81. The rest is disbursements of attorney fees, commissions, and costs, rendition penalties. So it's a total disburse of $27,343,839.81. If you turn to tab number 2, tab number 2 is the under current collections to date. If you look at the middle section, last year on base amount only, we collected 22,800,000. Yes. We don't have that.
No, we don't.
We don't have that. I'm sorry. You don't have one in front of you then?
No.
A report?
Make it look like we do.
Trust me, it's, normally what I do, I send them to them and then we try to get one for you, but somehow, I'll go ahead and just read it, and if you have questions, please ask me.
Okay, Paul, thank you.
Okay, last year, 2016, 2017, on the current collections today, we collected $22,895,436.24. This year, for current collections, we collected $24,943,318.51. We collected above last year collections $2,447,882.27, which I'm very excited about that. Last year's percentage of collection was 94.78. This year's 95.40. So we did collect 0.62 above last year. So I think we had a great year. And every year, like I said, we strive to do more. On the next page, we have a comparison of 2013 through 2017. We had a 2013 93.81, 2014 94.54, 2015 94.49, 2017 94.78, and 2017 95.40%. So next page, this is pretty much how the pie looks out of 100%. We collected 95.40, so the only outstanding is 4.60%, which is outstanding, I won't say that. And on page number 3, that's the delinquent tax report. The delinquent collections to date for last year was, last year, the base amount was $1,158,548.24. This year, $1,168,417.53. They did collect $9,869 above last year, so their percentage for last year was 27.61. This year is 28.92, so they did collect 1.31 above last year, so I think that was a great job by the delinquent attorneys. And pretty much the rest is just reports that follow up with the annual report. And so if you have any questions, but I guess, first of all, I want to thank you for the partnership that we've had for 20-some years plus. I know that I was excited with all the recognitions, and maybe one of these days I'll get one of those for everything we do for this district. And but I want to thank my
We're going to make it happen.
That would be great. I collect for 15 school districts, and I collect millions of dollars. So maybe one of these days we'll put one of those in the walls. Let's see who gets it first. I want to thank my Chief Deputy Eva Mireles. I want to thank my supervisors and all my staff for what they do. One of the things that unfortunately we had the flooding, so our office that we have here in the Weslaco office right now is going to be closed. They're trying to build a new one. And so right now we do have the office in Elsa. We do have another one in Alamo and San Juan. Those are the nearest ones that we have. So hopefully we can have that transition as soon as we can, so we can provide the services to the district. And so pretty much talking about, collections, November 1st, tax statements are going out for this year. So hopefully for anybody that wants to pay their taxes online, we do have online where they can go ahead and do that. And of course, the other place where you can pay your taxes, it's at the Lone Star National Banks. And you can do that from November 1st through January 31st. You can go out there and pay your taxes and you get a receipt. So that's going to be that location that you can take advantage of here in the Weslaco area.
So do we still have to make that check out to you?
Please.
No.
People ask me, why do we have to make a check out to you?
Right.
And the question or the answer is, well, I'm the one that's bonded, for the
Right.
county in the drainage. So if anything happens, well, hopefully it doesn't. I've been there since 1985, and I've never seen where we have to use our bond. But that's the reason that nobody else wants to take the responsibility.
Right.
So, but I'm happy to.
So collection of taxes, you mentioned that in the last 5 years has improved every year.
Every year,
Correct.
pretty much, yes. We've done good. I mean, I can tell you the breakdown of what we do in order for us to try to, once the tax statements go out, you have up to January 31st to make the payment. The other thing is that by February 1st, the first thing that I would say that because I used to be the computer system administrator, I have my IT and my staff. What we do is send out tax statements on February 1st of the top 5,000 taxpayers that have not paid. So we kind of remind them that those taxes have been paid. And then I do another mail out of top taxpayers. We do it also on March, and then we do it in April. On May, the delinquent attorney sent out the May resolution. We'll do it on June again, before July 1st comes in and it becomes a delinquent year. So we try to. I go out and be on any television, would be Channel 4, Channel 5, Univision, Telemundo. I'll be on talk radio. I'll be on the news. I always advising the taxpayer from this location or the whole county. But at the same time, we also offer the exemptions, the partial payments and things like that where we can work with it.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your hard work.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Regards to all your staff also. Moving on to item number 14, discussion and possible action items. I want to take this opportunity to move item D and L up to start with those. We have some people that need to be somewhere else, and I'm going to take this opportunity to move them up.
D and L.
Do we need to vote on that, Ivan, or?
Take a motion to change the order of the day.
Okay, we need to take a motion
I'll
to
make
change
the
the order.
motion to
Have a
move
motion.
item D and item L.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Motion by Oscar and a second by Patrick Kennedy to move the order of the day to move item D and L to start the discussion and possible action items. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Going with item D. Discussion and possible action for the board to approve a memorandum of understanding and an interlocal agreement between the Weslaco ISD and City of Weslaco for the implementation of the First Offender Program. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we are recommending that you approve the MOU, an interlocal agreement between Weslaco ISD and the City of Weslaco for the implementation of the First Offender Program. This has been reviewed by our legal counsel. Upon board approval, the Weslaco Police Department, in partnership with the Weslaco Independent School District, will establish a first offender program designed to help first-time defendants avoid the full effects of criminal conviction. While they provide the opportunity for the defendant's first-time criminal offense to be permanently cleared from their criminal record. If the child and/or the parent meet the criteria for enrollment, they will participate in the First Offender Program with mandatory completion of Weslaco ISD's Drug Awareness and Prevention Program. The participants will attend designated guidance meetings with First Offender Program staff to receive drug awareness education, vocational training, counseling, life skill training, mental health awareness, and/or rehabilitative services and education. Upon graduation of the program and a successful 90-day probationary period, the child will have his or her first-time criminal offense permanently cleared from their criminal history. The cost of the program is approximately $25,000 a year, half the cost for case manager who will be employed by the City of Weslaco. A lot of staff members have been meeting with our city, our police department on the First Offender Program. Ms. Norma Brewer, has met with them, Mr. De La Rosa, to create this program. We believe it's in the benefit of kids. It teaches them a lesson. It gives them a chance not to have something on their record for the rest of their lives. And it helps also with parenting in terms of counseling, vocational training, and just making sure that we're fully aware of the impacts and the effects of drugs, not just now, but into the future. So it's something that staff is recommending for your approval.
So move to approve.
I'll second.
A motion by Isidoro and a second by Mr. Caballero to approve the memorandum of understanding and interlocal agreement between Weslaco ISD and the City of Weslaco for the implementation of First Offender Program. Is there any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Moving to item L. Item L, consideration and action on an order by the Board of Trustees of Weslaco Independent School District authorizing the issuance of limited maintenance tax notes, Series 2018, and enacting other provisions related for the purpose of this order. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we're going to recommend that you approve an order authorizing the issuance of Weslaco Independent School District Limited Maintenance Tax Notes, Series 2018, and enacting other provisions relating to the purpose of this order. We have Mr. Chris Vela with First Southwest Company, Financial Advisors, and Mr. David Mendez, Bond Counsel, will be making a presentation shortly.
Dr. Canales, Board President, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris Vela with Hilltop Securities Financial Advisors to the district. I'd like to refer you to page 5 of the presentation, and I'll very briefly summarize page 5. Whereas the Weslaco Independent School District issued limited maintenance tax notes, Series 18, for the purchase of school buses, district vehicles, and equipment, and paying the cost of issuing the notes. The district requested a limited tax rating from Standard & Poor's for the notes and was affirmed by Standard & Poor's an A+ with a stable outlook. The district also qualified for insurance on the notes and was used. Hilltop Securities, a financial advisor, analyzed insurance bids and determined that insurance was beneficial to the transaction. The notes will be insured by Assured Guaranteed Municipal, and that converted your local A+ to a AA with a stable outlook. So that improved your credit in the market. The structure assumptions: tax-exempt bank qualified, fixed interest rates throughout the maturity, total project fund deposit of $5 million, 15-year amortization. Interest will be payable semi-annually on the 15th of August and February, beginning on February the 15th of 19. Principal will be payable annually on February the 15th, beginning on February of 19. Got a 10-year call option. Moving on to page 9 is the actual comparison between what we brought to the board when we approved the initial plan of finance. And on the projected, we projected a par amount issuance of $4,855,000, and the actual was $4,905,000, was a $50,000 variance. All interest costs, we projected a 3.940. We actually came in with a 3.750, so actually under the budgeted amount. The total debt service that we projected was $7,164,290 over the life of the 15. We came in at $7,052,272, or $112,000 below the targeted range. The average annual debt service projected was $477,000. We came in with $470,000, or approximately $7,000 a year below. And the average life is a little under what we had projected as a result. The bonds will be closed and delivered for the district on November the 7th, and the district can, based on their reimbursement resolution, can appropriate the monies based on their achieved goals. Mr. Sanchez?
Yeah. Mr. David Mendez, the bond counsel, he's got some additional information to provide.
Dr. Canales and members of the board, my pleasure to be here with you this evening. I'm David Mendez from Bickerstaff as your bond counsel. You have before you an order which I've laid out before the meeting for you all there. I had provided one in your packet that had blanks in it as we were anticipating the sale of these bonds today. Once we got pricing in this afternoon, I updated this order, and I've got it here for you all. So it should be at the dais for each of you all. The order does a number of things. I'm just going to I'm not going to bore you with all the detail of it, but it sets out the parameters of how the bonds are issued, authorizes the president of the board and the secretary to execute the various documents that are required for the delivery of the bonds, authorizes the board president and our team to deliver them to the Attorney General for Attorney General review, which is required. And then as soon as that is completed, then they'll be delivered as Mr. Vela described. So the bonds have a call feature on them, so you can refinance them if interest rates are appropriate. In 2028, you have the opportunity to call these bonds early and pay them off with either through a refinancing if interest rates were to allow that. There are representations you've made in the offering documents to the investors, and this order that you have before you this evening approves those representations that we've made about the district. One item that we did earlier in the summer is we did we notified the public that we were intending to reimburse ourselves for expenditures that we might make, reimburse our general fund. So if you have, I think that there have been a series of expenditures made from general revenue and general fund in anticipation of this transaction, and upon the delivery of these bonds, you'd be able to refund that or reimburse yourself in that account. I'm going to leave the documents, assuming the board approves them tonight. It takes a motion and second on approving the order as presented by bond counsel. And I'm going to leave the documents for execution by the board president and by Mr. Nieto, the secretary. There's one document for you, Dr. Canales, in here, and I'm going to leave these with Mr. Sanchez here. I'm just going to take one document back so I can circulate to the purchasers of the bonds, Mr. Lopez, if once you all act on it. Are there any questions for me?
No questions. I'll move to approve the order as presented by bond counsel.
Second.
We have a motion by Patrick Kennedy and a second by Andrew to approve the bond sale. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Vela.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Vela, thank you.
Down here.
Thank you. We gotta go back to B.
Okay. Thank you. I will move back to item A. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Moving back to item A, discussion and possible action for the board to approve resolution of board-approved credit by examination audit process. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, I'm recommending that you approve the resolution of board-approved credit by examination audit process. Our State Board of Education recently approved revised rules on credit by examination that include a new requirement for districts and assessment providers to audit their credit by examination assessments used for kindergarten through grade 5 acceleration. Weslaco ISD uses exams from the University of Texas for this purpose. There no local audit is required for these exams if you use the UT ones. The University of Texas shall arrange for a third party to conduct annual audits of the exams and will provide the results of the audit to Texas Education Agency.
I move to approve the audit process.
Second.
Have a motion by Patrick and a second by Andrew to approve the audit process. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item B, discussion and possible action to contract with the Hidalgo County Elections Administration to conduct November 6, 2018 Weslaco ISD School Board election and to approve modification of the election order to reflect updated polling locations. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, the Hidalgo County Elections Department has the authority to designate any location within Hidalgo County as a polling place. There are 7 sites, and it's not a page number that include the Weslaco Business Visitor and Event Center, Stephen F. Austin Complex. There is a change from County Commissioner Precinct 1's office to Mary Hogue Middle School. Ed Couch Fire Station, Elsa Fire Station, Taylor Zachary, and Mercedes Early Childhood. Those are the polling site locations. Weslaco ISD and the City of Weslaco have contracted election services with Hidalgo County Elections Administration for the past 5 elections pursuant to the Texas Education Code, Section 31.0092. The contract and the cost estimate for conducting the elections are attached. The total amounts a little over $50,000, and the contract has been reviewed and approved by our school attorney.
I move to approve the contract.
Second.
Motion by Patrick and a second by Isidoro to approve the contract with the Hidalgo County Elections Administration to conduct on November 6, 2018, Weslaco ISD School Board election, and to approve modification of election order to reflect updated polling locations. Is there any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, saying no. Motion carries. Item C, discussion and possible action to approve the memorandum of understanding and interlocal agreement between Weslaco ISD and City of Weslaco for the implementation of a school resource officer program. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we have our Chief of Police, Joel Rivera, here, Mr. De La Rosa. They've been working on this for a while. Basically, this is in alignment with our 2018-2019 goals. The purpose of the SRO program is to create and maintain safe, secure, and orderly learning environments for our students, for our teachers, for our staff, our community. Additionally, the district wishes to prevent acts of violence and vandalism occurring on school campuses which threaten the safety of students, faculty, administrative personnel, and the security of public property. There's an attached MOU and interlocal agreement that outlines the structure and operational procedures of the SRO program. The agreement has been reviewed and agreed by the General Counsel for Weslaco ISD and the City of Weslaco. So we have Chief Rivera and Mr. De La Rosa here to answer any questions. And we thank you for working on this.
I move to approve this memorandum of understanding.
Second.
A motion and a second. We have a motion by Patrick and a second by Andrew to approve the memorandum of understanding an interlocal agreement between Weslaco ISD and City of Weslaco for the implementation of the school resource officer program. Is there any further discussion?
So what's the total of officers that we're going to be having at the schools?
We're going to start off with 6 police officers and 1 supervisor.
And they're going to be based off of what campuses?
It'll be 2 at each high school, Weslaco High School, Weslaco East High School, and then the other 2 will rotate between the middle schools.
Okay. Good.
A total of how many you said?
6. And then 1 supervisor would be 7.
Oh, okay.
Chief, I want to welcome you. I know that you've been here before, but I don't think you've been on the meetings or stood up before the meetings. And I just want to say that we enjoy being able to work with you. You know, you've been a very visible chief for us, and I can see your willingness to assist us here at the school district, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts, man, for our kids. Thank you.
I appreciate that, sir. I'd like to, by the same token, express to you guys what a pleasure it's been working with the Weslaco ISD staff, particularly Dr. Canales and Mr. La Rosa here. They're, their initiative and their willingness to work on this project speaks volumes about how seriously the district takes the safety, security of the faculty, staff, and students. And so it's been a pleasure to work with them. I realize in the past, Weslaco PD hasn't been as accommodating. I'm here to tell you today that we will be accommodating, and we will continue that under my watch. And I truly appreciate their work and your consideration on this.
Chief, will it be the same 6 officers that will be working the campuses, or will they be different ones?
Well, the intent is, because there's very specific training
right.
That comes with assigning an officer there. And so it'll be the same 6 officers,
okay,
unless there's an exigent circumstance or whatever, and that's outlined in the MOU. And so we will have fallback. We will have a contingency plan should one of the officers go out on FMLA or whatever. We'll have guys waiting in the wings with the training to be able to accommodate those kind of issues.
Okay.
And so, but for the most part, and my intent is to assign the senior staff, those seasoned officers that have been around the block once or twice that don't have perhaps the vigor that a rookie first-year patrolman does, because there's a stark difference between a first-year guy and a 10-year guy, and so I want the Weslaco Police Department, the City of Weslaco intends on being a very good partner to make this relationship work. And so I look forward to the relationship. Weslaco ISD is one of our biggest consumers. from a standpoint in we'll give you guys extra patrol, we're there at the football games, and you know, calls for service, whatever it is. And so I want to make sure we put our best foot forward to be able to make this partnership work.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Chief, thank you for being here today. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item D, we have already gone through. We will now move on to item E. Discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of a resolution authorizing the resale of foreclosed real estate properties for failure to pay ad valorem taxes. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we have Attorney Iram Gutierrez, a partner with Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott, LLP, who will be presenting to you and is here to answer any questions that you may have on the properties.
Good evening, Dr.
Good
Canales, President Lopez, members of the board. As Ms. Canales stated, I have some properties that have been struck off to these taxing entities. In other words, the taxing entities are now the owners of these properties. We want to put them on a tax resale, our upcoming resale. There's a total of 8 properties. 5 of the properties are vacant lots. 2 of the properties have abandoned structures. Number 8 has a structure that appears to be occupied. However, the owner, the last deeded owner of that property, passed away on February 3rd of 2007. The total taxes owed at this point are approximately $23,000 plus cost of about $2,000. The appraised value is at approximately $35,000. And again, no one has paid taxes. The last payment was made back in 2004. And again, the last owner is deceased.
And somebody's living there?
Yes, it does appear that somebody's living on the property. And we do believe that it's one of the family members that's living there, but we did speak to one of the daughters, and she claimed she was the last person to make the payment back in 2004. However, because of family dispute as to who was going to keep the property, she stopped making payments on that property. And you can authorize the sale of all of these properties, 8 properties, some of the properties, or none of the properties if you wish.
I do have a question for Hiram, if that's okay. If we don't, say that, the board typically doesn't authorize the tax sale on homes that are currently occupied. But as typically, from what I've seen, is people who typically own taxes to one entity typically own taxes to all entities.
Correct.
What happens if we don't move forward on our end, but the other entities do?
Another entity could authorize the sale as well.
Okay.
So if it gets canceled here, the county can go forward with it, city can go forward it. Any of the other entities that are owed money, South Texas ISD, South Texas College, can go forward with a sale, a tax resale, that is.
Okay.
And are they refusing to pay completely their?
Yeah, in fact, our last contact was in September, and the lady that we spoke to was the one that told us she's not going to pay because the family is not in agreement as to who's going to keep the property. So she claims she was the one that made that last payment in 2004. So again, it's been 13 years since anybody's made a payment on this taxes on this property. The taxes owed are almost at the appraised value at this point.
What is the value on the property?
$35,000.
$35,000.
I move to approve a resolution authorizing the sale of the foreclosed real estate properties on all 8 properties.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to authorize resolution authorizing the resale of foreclosed real estate properties for failure to pay ad valorem taxes. Is there any further we have a motion by Andrew and a second by Isidoro.
I didn't make the motion.
And
it was a
Mr.
motion by
President.
Patrick.
I'm sorry, by Patrick and Isidoro. Is there any further discussion? I do. I have. We have to this date ever displaced anybody that I know of from a home? here in Weslaco, on behalf of Weslaco ISD, I'm gonna ask you guys to reconsider and remove the item, the one item that has people living in that house, and have our attorneys try to work out something to where they collect some money out of the family. And I know you've probably tried every avenue that you have, yet I don't feel that the school district should even venture close to evicting people from a home, however poor or humble it may be. So,
do we know how many occupants there are?
No, and in fact, we don't even know who the actual occupants are, but we do believe it's probably one of the
you can bring it back, right?
Yes, we could always bring it back.
Bring it back, and I mean, if the people made the motion.
I will amend my, my motion to authorize the tax sale of items 1 through 7, excluding number 8. However, I would like to have that item brought back in 6 months to see if
or sooner,
progress has been made.
And find out who is there, as far as children and family, and try to get something from them, and they need to pay something or face the consequences. And I know you've been there, but this board does not feel comfortable.
Dr. Canales, have we, I'm sorry, have we searched the address to see if it matches up with any of our students?
No, sir, not to my knowledge, but that's what we can do.
Okay, so we've amended the motion for item 1 through 7, and there's nobody living in those places, right?
On the others, no.
Okay.
The others are property.
There's 5 vacant lots, 2 with abandoned structures.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion to authorize the resale of properties for failure to pay ad valorem taxes, items number 1 through 7. And that motion is made by Patrick and Isidoro. Is there any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item F, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of a blanket. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Idam.
Thank you, sir.
Item F, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of a blanket easement required by Magic Valley Electric Co-op to provide power for the Kate Welding and Woodworking Workshop renovation project at Peter Brigo Ag Farm Complex. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, MVEC is requesting a blanket easement covering the area where their equipment, the electrical line and transformer, will be located. The required area for the easement covers 10 feet, 5 feet on each side of the power line, and for the transformer, 15 feet in front for safe access. We are recommending that you approve the blanket easement requirement by Magic Valley Electric Cooperative, MVEC, to provide power for the welding and woodworking renovation project at the Pete Abrigo AG Farm Complex.
This is a property that is owned by the school district already, right?
Yes, sir, and Mr. Americo Garza is here to answer questions.
Yes, sir, it is. It's our PD Abrigo Ag Farm property where we're doing the welding and woodworking shop project.
But this is not any easement on any kind of private property, right? It's just
No.
all public property?
No, it's all within our property.
Okay.
So the easement's what, on the south side?
Yes, it's on the south side, right next to the big arena structure. We're using the same meter that powers that arena, so the facilities have to be upgraded, including the transformer.
Where's the new transformer going?
The new transformer's the pad is already there, so we're just waiting for the easement and then they'll move on. But the new transformer is close to the arena structure.
I move to approve the blanket easement subject to legal review.
Second.
A motion by Patrick and a second by Andrew to approve the blanket easement required by Magic Valley Electric to provide power Kate Welding Woodworking Workshop renovation project at the Pete Abrigo Ag Farm Complex pending legal review. Is there any further discussion? Yes. This easement is a brand-new easement, is that correct?
Yes, it's a blanket easement for these structures, yes.
When you say blanket easement, what do you mean?
Well, a specific easement has to be surveyed, and so you have specific measurements of where the equipment's going to be placed. A blanket easement does not require the survey, but it does specify the easement area, right, the space around the facilities.
Is this cutting anywhere through the center of property, or is it on a perimeter?
It's on the south side. No, it's not all the way through the center of the
So
property.
it will not interfere any future buildings, it will not be in the way of any future projects that we might have?
That is correct. And if that's the case, if we should ever get to that point, then we would just have to make arrangements to relocate that equipment if there's a structure that's going to be in place that we need that property.
Okay.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item G, discussion possible action for the board to consider approval to reject all proposals received for the security access system for elementary school projects. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, this project was approved by you as part of the Safety Initiative project to better protect our schools in lieu of recent events that have occurred at schools in other areas of our country. The project will consist of entry doors and cameras designed to control access to the campuses. We released a request for competitive sealed proposals and received 3 responses. After reviewing all of the proposal packages, administration recommended that we reject all proposals submitted due to the high project costs. Project costs range from $720,000 to $1,380,000. We will rebid this project in an effort to reduce the overall cost. Furthermore, the overall project will be revised to allow administration the flexibility to add or reduce various components per school, such as doors and door hardware, and or possibly construct this project in various phases. So below is a list of vendors that submitted. We use a competitive sealed proposal method for procurement, and we're recommending that you approve administration's, our recommendation to reject all of the proposals received.
So it's my understanding that all the proposals came back over budget. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What was the initial budget?
Mr. De La Rosa, what had we allotted and projected? 100 and... It's a lot less than this, I remember.
Initially, the budget was around $200,000. However, it did increase a little more due to the leftovers from other projects that were going on at the time. However, based on what we're getting, we feel that this is way too expensive for what we're asking for. So,
Okay. I'll move to reject the proposals.
Second.
A motion by Patrick and a second by Andrew to reject all the proposals received for the Security Access System for Elementary Schools Project CSP number 18-08-45. Is there any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor of rejecting the proposal, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries to reject. Sounds a little bit strange.
It does.
Right? Discussion possible action, item H, discussion possible action for the board to consider approval to refinance the new scoreboard lease to a 10-year term. Dr. Canales.
Board Trustees, the estimated current lease principal balance is $1,275,000, which was financed on an 88-month term at a fixed, at a 5.25% fixed rate, also without any prepayment penalty. So the current advertising revenue efforts for our district are $161,000 and growing. We're expecting to land some more in the next couple of weeks, which assist to make the payments for the scoreboard. So what we've done is staff reached out to 3 local banks, and Texas National Bank and Plains Capital Bank submitted refinancing offers by Friday, October 12th as follows. Texas National Bank at an annual interest rate of 5.125%, 10 years, no penalty for early payment, total finance cost, and then the annual payment would be $161,613. Based on the information presented on the table before you, Texas National Bank offer represents a best deal for the district. We are recommending that you approve the refinancing of the outstanding balance of the new digital scoreboard lease currently financed by PNC Equipment Finance LLP to a 10-year loan with Texas National Bank at 5.125% fixed rate with no prepayment penalty for the 10-year term. And Andres Sanchez has some information to add.
Dr. Canales, Mr. Lopez, members of the board. Late this afternoon, around 4:30 or so, Lone Star National Bank submitted a bid by phone. I hadn't received the paperwork, and they offer 5.5% for the fixed 10-year loan also, no prepayment penalty. to try to help us. But they will be the second one out of the three. Texas National Bank will still be a recommendation. But I wanted to acknowledge that they came through after all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
So move to approve the refinance.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion by Isidoro and a second by Dr. Rodriguez. They had already said it already.
I didn't hear.
To approve the refinancing of the new scoreboard lease to a 10-year term. Is there any further discussion? I have a comment to make. The board, we brought this back due to the reason that the payments were going to be a little bit higher with the previous financing. And we wanted to make sure that the money being brought in by the advertising would cover the total cost of the board jumbotron, as some of the public has referred to it. This being the case and this being the refinance, it will cover 100% of the cost associated with this project. So I want to thank Dr. Canales and her staff for making this happen. Were you going to add something, Mr. Sanchez?
The cost of the scoreboard plus the interest of the financing.
Plus the interest, it gets covered.
Yes.
Correct? So the school district or our students will not be affected by in any way other than the enjoyment of having to view or having the jumbotron during our games, during our band practices, graduations, and all our other events.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And I know that at this point I want to thank Carlos for, he put in the legwork for getting
And he's still
getting
doing
all
it.
the sponsors and bringing in the advertisements for this project, and it will grow. I know that next year, just like everything else, prices go up, so will the revenues from the jumbotron.
Will the jumbotron last the 10 years?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the warranty.
The warranties were 10, and the previous one had lasted 13 years. So
I just don't want to commit ourselves to paying for something that wouldn't be used after a certain period of time, but.
And actually, the last one lasted about 10 years, if I remember correctly. 13? So it was about 13 years.
Okay.
And I want to commend Carlos and his staff, because I've been at other football games at other places that they don't have, I guess, the knowledge or the capability to portray everything that you do, so high quality.
Very
Carlos.
good. Very good. Very good. Okay, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you. Item I, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of a contract with Lemons Auctioneers LLP and Online Pros to conduct online auctions for the district. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, Mr. Sanchez is going to lead the discussion on this one.
Dr. Canales, Mr. Lopez, members of the board, we reached out to a company called Lemons Auctioneers. It's got a bigger name, but they're out of Houston. They do online auctioning. We had heard of them. They are members of the buy board. They're an approved vendor to the cooperative of the buy board. They offer several choices on to doing the auctions for us. They have 3 contracts that they do. On 3 of the contracts, the school district will provide all the legwork. We'll set up a location where we want our items to be auction set up. We'll go put them in pallets, wrap them, mark them. They give us some information to use, take pictures, provide the information to them, and then they'll set it up on their website and do the advertising online. They have 3 different contracts, A, B, and C, or 1, 2, 3, that's what they call them. On the option, how they charge us. And then they also have a 4th contract where they can come to the district and they do all the legwork. Instead of us putting somebody assigned to that, they will come and do it. Of the 4 contracts that they gave us, I don't have anything in writing to show you. I discussed it with Mr. Perez. We looked at the contracts. We would like to consider approval of the contract number 3, where we will do all the work, they just do the advertising. They would charge us 5% of whatever the sales are done, and they would charge the buyer 7%. And also the contract number 4, when they will come to do the work here, they will charge us 18% to the district, right? We don't have to use them as we can use whatever we want. For example, we want to do vehicles. So we don't have to take the vehicles over there like we're doing right now. We just leave them on location. We do the advertising, and they will contact whomever's interested. They'll tell them where to come. So they'll contact somebody at the warehouse, and we'll tell them where to go look at we have buses, vehicles, whatever we have. We can use them as we need them. We're not committed to everything that we do goes with them. That way we can try them out.
Okay. Are you recommending approval?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Contract number 3 and number 4. The one, number 3, when we do the work here. Number 4, when they come to do the work for us.
Okay.
Are their rates competitive?
Yes, the auctioneer where we go right now, they charge us 20%. For whatever they sell, they keep 20%.
They keep how much?
20%.
20%.
The difference, I forgot to mention, thank you for reminding me through your question. The other people charge us less, but we set up everything, our warehouse, whatever we're going to have it. And when we do the auction, whatever it's sold, people are supposed to go buy it and pick it up. Unfortunately, at auctions, people only take whatever they want, whatever they don't want, they leave it behind. So we're in charge of picking that up and dispose of it. When we go over there, we just drop it off, they arrange everything, set it up, advertise it, sell it, and whatever doesn't sell, they dispose of it. We don't have to do that. So we pay less here, but we have to do some extra work. That's why I wanted to recommend them, like I said, we can use them when we need them. We don't have to use them all the time. And if we like it, we continue. If not, we don't have to follow with it.
You can start slowly, in other words.
Yes, sir.
And build
For
up.
certain things only, right, yes.
Do other districts use them?
They are from Houston. I know that in the Valley, Sherryland uses them. And I think they started with vehicles. They're barely getting to do that right now. But I know that they are approved through the Bible, so they have a lot of the issues throughout the state. And cities and other places that they do auctions for.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. We have a motion by Andrew and a second by Dr. Rodriguez to approve a contract with Lemons Auctioneers LLP and Online Pros to conduct online auctions for the district. Is there any further discussion?
You said the other company kept 20%?
Yes, so they charge us 20%.
So how about this particular company? What percentage?
They will charge us 5% when we do the work.
Okay.
And when they come to set up everything, well, we have a lot. If it's a lot of property we're going to have, they know better how to do it. They'll charge us more to do it. But they take care of all the work. We don't have to assign somebody to be doing that.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item J, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval to release a second request for proposal for consulting services for long-range facilities master plan. Item number 1 would be board determination to return the authority to rank the proposals to be received from this project, or board delegation of their authority to the Administration Facilities Committee to rank the proposals to be received. Number 2, board determination of who will listen to presentations for our companies submitting proposal responses for the project. And number 3, approval of criteria and points to be used for the ranking the proposals. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, it has been determined with input from the Weslaco ISD Facilities Committee that a long-range plan for the district is critically needed. This comprehensive study would encompass both the educational and facility needs. The study would detail the current state of every one of our facilities. It would help us specify educational goals, trends for the future, and outline how to better meet the needs of our students now and into the future. Furthermore, it would outline the current and future building needs of the district. This proposal will solicit firms or teams that have the personnel and experience required to conduct the long-range study. So we do have a timeline in the table for your review. We do plan to bring this back in December for board approval. What we need tonight is we're recommending that you approve the second solicitation of proposals for consulting services for a long-range facilities master plan, that you make the determination to retain your authority to rank the proposals to be received for this project or delegate that authority to the Administration Facilities Committee to rank the proposals to be received. That you make the determination of who will listen to the presentations from companies submitting proposals, responses for this project, and that you approve the criterion points to be used for the ranking of proposals.
Do you have the criteria here already?
Criteria's on page 2.
We rejected proposals earlier, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yes, sir.
Why did we reject them? Was it too expensive?
Well, one thing, yes, but we did not emphasize what we
Educational
want as far as
planning.
educational experience to make it part of the study.
Okay.
We had company that provided some information, some that provided more, some provided less. So we wanted to make sure we put everything in one package to everybody consider it the same way.
Okay.
Consulting team, professional property, insurance, other firms, team, references, scope of
I'll move to authorize the second solicitation and proposals, and that the administration rank, and that the administrative committee will listen to the presentation and to approve the criteria as presented by the administration.
Second.
We have a motion by Patrick and a second by Isidoro to approve the release of a second request for proposal for consulting services for long-range facilities master plan, and to give the board the authority to give the board our authority to administrate facilities committee to rank the proposals to be received. And on the second one, what did you want to do on that one?
Presentations?
The presentations will be, so.
The presentations will be done to the.
By the administrative committee.
By the administrative facilities committee.
That's correct.
Okay, and to approve the criteria as presented.
That's
okay.
correct.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
On the criteria,
Yes, sir.
1 and 3 that you have listed, so they have to be an actual consultant?
Qualifications.
National?
No, I didn't say that. They have to be a consultant, per
Yes.
se, right?
A
Not-
consulting team or firm. They could have 2, 3 people or firms together
Okay.
as one.
Okay. I just want to make sure that they have that designation of consultants, because
Well-
we hired consultants, but they weren't really truly consultants. So I just want to make sure, given that I think the reason we rejected was because of the cost. And so just make sure that we have a firm grip of the long-range plan for the district.
A lot of the groups get together, they have architects, engineers, consultants, and they come like that together.
Okay. I'm good, Mr. President.
Dr. Canales, on item number 1, you have the cost at 40%, and the scope, at number 5, reads scope of and approach. Firms plan and approach to this project. I believe that, and you have 15 points to that one. I believe that should carry a little bit more weight than 15 points, being that is really what you really want to buy. I think that really, and you're only giving 15% for the one that's going to deliver what you want, in my opinion.
Okay.
I don't know if you can up that, or if you feel that you're right where you're at, where you want to be on that.
We could move it up, just suggest us where to take it away from.
I would like to, at least give it 5 more points and possibly take it away from the cost. I know that still leaves the cost at 35, being that it is an important thing to save our money, but yet it'll give the scope and the approach some more weight. And the board would need to agree with me on that if we're going to do that.
You got to change the motion?
That's fine with me.
Are you fine with that?
I'm fine with that. The rest of the board is okay with that.
I'm good.
Okay. Do we need to?
Yeah, we can, you'll need an amended motion just to reflect that portion.
Just
change the
percentages.
We're going to have to do that all over again.
Yeah.
Just amend the motion.
Okay. I amend the motion with everything except for the criteria.
Okay.
Item number 1 is going to have 35 points. And
Okay.
then we will take those 5 points that we subtracted from item number 1 and add them to
Number 5.
Number 5, the scope and approach, bringing it up to 20%.
Okay. So we have a motion by Patrick and a second by Isidoro to allow the administration to give the administration the board authority or the board will give them the authority to Administrative Facilities Committee to rank the proposals to be received, and also to listen to the presentations from the company submitted proposal responses for this project, and to approve the criteria as presented, and amend number 1 to 35, and add the 5 points being taken away from number 1 and add them to number 5, which is scope of and approach to firm's plan and approach of this project, to make that a 20.
Correct.
Is that enough?
Legal counsel?
Yeah, was that amended?
Yes.
Yeah, that was his amended motion and read everything back to it.
Correct.
I think.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right, I'm proud of me. So, is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. K, discussion and possible action for the board to approve a procurement method of construction for the installation of security access system for elementary school project. 1, board determination for procurement method of construction that will provide the best value to the district for this project. Number 2, board determination to retain the authority to rank the proposals to be received for this project, or board delegation of the authority to the administration to rank the proposals to be received. Or number 3, approval of criteria and points to be used for ranking the proposals. Dr. Canales, here we go again.
Okay, so Board of Trustees, this is for the security access to be designed and installed in all elementary schools. This would be the first part in addressing security access at all campuses. The overall scope of this project will include a centralized security system that will communicate with all campus. Each campus will have entry access keypads, cameras, intercoms, card readers, and any other device necessary to control and monitor everyone entering our schools. For this one, we're recommending that you approve a procurement method of construction as a method that would provide the best value to our district for the construction of a security access system at all elementary schools. We're recommending the design-build method of construction. There is a definition of design-build on page 3. And under this method of contracting, the owner awards a single contract for the design and construction of the project. The awarded design-build team company is then responsible for having an architect or engineer, or an architect and a construction manager to design and construct the project. Architects and engineers must be hired by the design-build team company based on demonstrated competence and qualifications. So I do have staff here, Mr. De La Rosa and Mr. Sanchez, to answer any questions about design-build. That is the one we're recommending for this particular project.
Why not choose competitive sealed proposals for this project?
Because to do competitive sealed proposal, you have to have specifications, which is what we tried to do last time.
We did.
And the packs we put together really did not work well. And going design build, we can select companies that have experience with this and work with them. Whomever we select, tell them exactly what we need, and they can tell us what they suggest. And that's a design build, sometimes called design as you build. You don't have everything up front, because we might not know exactly what we need.
Okay.
Is this the one, is this new RFP the one to replace, or
We just rejected.
for H, the one we rejected?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Same project.
And what are we gonna ask for differently?
Well, we're gonna ask for companies. You want to fill in?
Yeah, basically, Dr. Rodriguez, what the approach we're taking this time around, instead of us specifying all of the components, for example, or CSP, we're going to actually turn it around, let the experts tell us what we need based on what our limitations are or what our scope is. So, for example, one campus, an electronic motorized gate might be better than an access control system. So really, we're turning it around and getting the input from the experts versus us, telling everybody use this cable what we want. So.
So then, are they gonna come in, like the different companies, they come in and I guess, go to every campus?
Once the proposal received for the RFQ, so we'll select 2 or 3 companies first, and then they'll go out.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll release the actual RFP just to those companies, telling them what we want.
All right.
It's a 2-step process.
Okay. I think that's a good idea anyways.
Okay, so we're recommending the design-build method of construction. that the board makes a determination to retain their authority to rank the proposals to be received for this project, or that you delegate your authority to administration to rank the proposals to be received, and that Board of Trustees, you approve the criteria and points to be used for the ranking of proposals. And that is also, that's on page, what is page?
What is your
The fourth
budget for
page.
this?
What did we put here?
$400,000 to $700,000.
We have a range of 400 to 700,000.
For how many schools?
10 or 11. We might not do all of them. That's one of the things that we can do with this project.
But right now it's for the elementaries?
Elementaries.
Yes, sir.
And then phase two, the ultimate plan is phase two would move on to the middle schools, and then phase
High
three, the high schools.
Okay. Go ahead, Doc.
So Board of Trustees, we
Design
recommend
build.
your approval, design build, and that you either retain your authority to rank the proposals or delegate it to us, and that you approve the criterion points, and that's on page 4.
I'll make the motion to go with the design build and have the administration rank the proposals to be received and approve the criteria of points as listed.
Second. Motion by Isidoro and a second by Dr. Rodriguez.
Motion by Oscar.
That's right. It's because I'm looking at you. Been a long day. Motion by Oscar and a second by Dr. Rodriguez to,
Design build.
yeah, we just got this thing all written up and scratched up. We're talking about the board determination, okay. This is the procurement method for the construction, to approve the procurement method. First of all, to discuss the procurement method and then to approve it for the construction of the installation of security access system for elementary schools. Okay. We're gonna go with the design build method of construction. Delegate the authority to administration to rank the proposals and approve their criteria as presented. Is that correct? Correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
No. Okay, so motion passes. Item L has already been done, so now we go into item number 15, which is closed meeting to discuss personnel matters, Texas Government Code 551.074. Item number 1, employment of personnel. Item number 2, resignations. 3, deliberation regarding the appointment, employment evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, Texas Government Code 551.074 and 551.071. B, consultation with attorneys regarding A, pending contemplated litigation, B, a settlement offer, or C, a matter in which the duty of the attorney of the Weslaco ISD under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Texas Government Code 551.071. The time now is 8:20, and this board is going into closed session. Time is 9:11. We're back in open session. Let the record reflect that Petra Kennedy left the meeting at 8:22. Item A, personnel matters, Texas Government Code 551.074. Item number 1, employment of personnel. Dr. Canales?
Board of Trustees, I move that you approve the employment of personnel as discussed in closed session.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Dr. Rodriguez and a second by Isidoro to approve the employment of personnel as presented in closed session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I see you again. Sorry. All those against? Say no. Motion carries. Item number 2 is resignations. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, I move that you approve the resignations of certified professional personnel as discussed in closed session.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Andrew and a second by Dr. Rodriguez to approve the resignation as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. There being no further action, I will entertain a motion to, that's correct, right?
Yes.
There being no further action, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.